Chapter 20, Gregory. We then entered the building, which was an enlarged house on a level-split mezzanine. "Up is to our house, and down is to the board, which is where we are going," said Hannah when we entered. I then followed Hannah down the stairs, and I ended up in a board that had a loop of a counter and surrounded by stools except for a gate used for the bartender to get in and out of, along with a bunch of booths along with the walls. "There are my parents," said Hannah, pointing. I then walked over to Hannah's parents, and I couldn't quite see them correctly from where I entered, but I was a little bit shocked to find something out about them as I sat down. Her parents were both men. "Hi," I said shyly. "Hi, Marcus, I'm Peter Gregory, but you may call me Peter," said one of her parents as I was shaking his hand. Peter looked just like my dad, except about 15 years older, and I could tell Peter was a Latino. And Peter wore glasses when my dad did not wear glasses. "Hi, Marcus, I am David Gregory, and you also may call me David," said Hannah's other parent as I was shaking his hand too. David looked totally different than Peter. He looked like a typical skinny Caucasian male, like me, except he was bald. We even let Hannah call us by our real names, because if we made her call both of us Dad, we would have no idea who she is talking to," said Peter. "Well, if you meet my parents, you'll need to call them either my king or queen or your highness," I said with a little bit of a chuckle. "Oh yeah, Hannah did tell us you belong to a royal family, and what we can and what we cannot say to you." "What's it like?" Peter asked. Not as nice as you may think, in all honesty," I answered. We then all laughed. I'm sure," said Peter. There was a pausery placed in order for drinks. I got water, while everyone else got beer for being over 21. "So, Marcus, remind me, where do you go to school?" Peter asked. "Kimball Charter School," I asked. "On Kimball Avenue?" David asked. "Yep, I commute on the Brown Line train from Adams and Wabash all the way to the termini on Kimball Street, and then it's a 10-minute walk from the Brown Line," I said. "Wow, you must wake up super early," said David. 7. I usually arrive at Adams and Wabash at about 7:45. I said. What time do you make it to Kimball?" 8:30. There are usually a few delays on the way out," I answered. We work here. Usually our commute takes about 1 minute because we live up the stairs," said David. I know. Hannah told me as we were walking in," I said. "Our drinks then came, and then we ordered our food. I got a buffalo chicken sandwich." "This meal is on us," said Peter. "Plus we also own this place. This meal is for free," said David. Thanks," I said. "Speaking of what we do for a living, what do your parents do for a living?" David asked. "My mom is my school's doctor, and my dad is a comic book artist, and he has a PhD in art, so he teaches a comic book art class at the University of Chicago," I said. "Question, when you say your mother is a doctor, is she a physician, if she is your school's doctor?" Peter asked. Yes, most schools in their clinics have nurses. Ours has a doctor," I said. "Interesting," said David. Well, do you want to hear something more interesting?" I asked. "Yes," said Peter and David. Everyone in my immediate family has autism in the form of it that was known as Asperger's syndrome until a few years ago, and me and my 2 younger brothers all go to different charter schools to get treated for it. Based on what sticks out of autism the most, it's differently. So the fact my mom works in my school is just a coincidence," I said. "Cool," said David. "What sticks out the most of your autism?" Peter asked. "I have issues being social. My younger brother Sam, who is 11, has behavioral issues, and my baby brother George, who just turned 6 a few days ago, is super sensitive to some things. Do your parents have autism? David asked. Yes, they actually do. They're the ones that make me put this cloak on as part of our religion because of our autism. Hannah told us you only take your hood down if you are doing something that involves the color red, because red is your favorite color. Yeah, Peter said. Yep, and if you want to see me with my hood down, maybe you should ride the red line with me back to Robbinsog in the loop. That is what I take to head home to our nation of Robbinsog from here. I offered. Nah, it may be dark in the spore, but we can see you through the hood fine, said David. The sunglasses, the gloves, and the cane are my idea. So is everything else, but I dress in my fancy suit no matter what when we have guests in Robbinsog, because we are royalty, but in Robbinsog I always wear a red necktie and no cloak. I explained. I see, said David. That sounds confusing, but you can do your own thing, said Peter. If you see my family in public, nobody dresses in a fancy suit in public, but my brother Sam wears an orange cloak, George green, my mother purple, and my dad blue, because those are the favorite colors of the members of my family, I explained to Peter and David. In fact, we met at the costume shop I work at in Chinatown on Cermak Road, said Hannah. I was there because my old cloak was tattered and my cane was broken, I said. I never been to that costume shop where she works at, because I'm too busy here. But I'm glad that out of the whole job experience she met you, said Peter. Same here, said David. There was a pause that I interrupted. Did you know that Hannah and I share a birthday? I asked Peter and David. I know. She said that you were born on New Millennium Day, and she was born on New Year's Day, 1992. So she is exactly 8 years older than you, said Peter. I am a senior in high school, so she know is finishing up her last year of law school, I said. If you're wondering why she is 7 years ahead of you academically when she is 8 years older than you physically, that's because it was best to give her an extra year of school when we adopted her, said David. Oh, I didn't know that, I said, looking at Hannah. I was adopted from an orphanage in the Bronx in New York City when I was 4 years old, Hannah said. Well, obviously, because we're both men, she isn't our biological daughter, said Peter with a bit of a chuckle. I know, I just didn't feel comfortable saying anything, I said with a grin. Everyone at the table burst out laughing. Just to be clear, in case you were wondering about this, you know how because I dress because of my autism, it has to do with my religion, which my mom made up, which is called Awareism? I asked Peter and David. Yes, Peter and David said together. I just want to assure you that being the devoutly religious guy I am, and because our religion is two rules and doesn't involve biblical texts at all, that I am absolutely okay with you two being gay, I said. Thanks, said Peter. We're glad you understand, said David. Since our religion doesn't believe that stuff like that is wrong, since everyone in my family is a staunch Democrat in the United States, in Robbinsog, where we live, we all function as liberals, I said. Do you hate Trump like we do, asked Peter. Oh yeah, and I actually think my mom hates him the most out of everyone in our family. She literally had to stay home from work the day after he won, which almost never happens because she is a workaholic, I said to Peter and David. We're workaholics too. We did go to work the next day and operate the spore, but we were enjoying a drink at the same time, said David. We then all cracked up and then our food was delivered to us, and then we began eating. So, do you guys cook the food here sometimes, I asked. We do. All of Hannah's dinners come from here before she began college and law school when we were not outside of Chicago, Sir Peter said. We just aren't working right now, said David. Just wondering, was this place a speakeasy, I asked. You mean back in Chicago during the 1920s, during Prohibition? Peter asked. Yes, but by your answer, I will take that as a no, I said. Yeah, this bar was never a speakeasy. It's just a basement we renovated into a bar, said Peter. We also, despite being gay people, we didn't make this into a gay bar because we feel it was wrong for us to make a place that targets gays, even in a good way, because we feel that as discrimination, and gays have been discriminated against for so long that we feel discrimination is wrong, positive or negative. So we just don't associate this bar with demographics, no matter what, David explained. I see. It no joke, when we first opened as roommates fresh out of college, it took us just a week of business for it to open, to pay back the renovations we made for this, to this basement, and it was another 2 weeks to pay off the rest of the house, and a week after that we made ends meet and broke even because and business has been going great ever since. Peter explained.